Okay, so I'm going to say this right now. This is probably my favorite piece out of all of the pieces I did for this project. When I did this piece, I had a certain image in mind, like a very specific image. And when I came to do it, the end result ended up being that image in my head, which I consider a success. Any artist who makes a picture or a piece of artwork and it is able to come from their head straight onto paper, I think would consider themselves pretty successful at what they wanted to do. I remember I wanted a bit more of a tie-dyed look for the background sky and stuff, but I actually ended up liking a really subtle pink, and I ended up adding clouds and making it a little darker, but it just ended up being so perfect, so perfect. When I did the trees, I started with the light color, and then I realized I couldn't do that. I needed to start with the darker color first, because the darker something is, the farther away it appears, and I wanted to have a forest, like a type of forest, so I needed to start with the darker colors so they looked farther away, and layer on lighter colored trees on top of that so they looked closer. Again, when I was thinking of the characters and ideas for all the color schemes, I was scrolling through my own artwork to find characters I could use, and I came across my Little Red Riding Hood. And I realized at that moment she would fit monochromatic. And if you don't know what that is, it's basically just different shades and tints of one color. This one color was red. Yes, I know, pink and all that, but pink is technically a lighter red. So when I saw my Little Red Riding Hood type character, I saw her and I was like, oh my gosh, she's monochromatic. I could use her for my piece. The thing is, I don't actually know much about her. That sounds weird, but I don't know much about my Little Red Riding Hood other than she's obviously not a normal human being. She's something different from that, and she also has a pet pit bull, which is her big bad wolf, if you know what I mean. And she also has a little axe. And I wanted to do a forest scene with her because of the original story of Little Red Riding Hood. She goes into the forest to go to her grandma's house. That might not be in the original. I just know that's usually how the tale goes. She goes through the forest, and that's how she meets the wolf. So I wanted her to be in a forest. Like, that's the connection. She's definitely in a forest. But I also kind of like the whole idea of her being a mysterious being from the forest, or even a guardian of the forest. So I had made a tiny drawing, like I did with Jen. I put the paper on to the main piece and kind of measured how small she needed to be, and then drew her, and she was teeny tiny. I think I ended up coloring her with markers because I did not know how to blend her colors with paint, so I just used markers because that's what I did for her original drawings. And they didn't turn out too bad. I know they're terrible markers. They're like Roseart or something like that, but because of how tiny her drawing is, they don't leave streaks on the picture. She's just so teeny tiny. It's so adorable. But as you can see, I used markers, and in the corner I did like little swatches so I knew which red I was looking for, because I had a reference picture on the computer and I was trying to match the colors of the markers with that. And I knew I had the markers somewhere, I just didn't know which markers it was because I had used the markers before to color her original picture when I first designed her, and her second design and all that. Most of the other pictures I do with characters, they're very, like for the project, they're very large or medium sized compared to the paper, but she was very tiny, and I almost ruined her little ribbon thing that came off of the axe because of how small and thin it was, and I was trying to cut. I got to know the X-acto knife really well through these projects because I had to learn how to really cut and be precise with what I was cutting with. I even added little clouds, and you can't really see them, but there's clouds in the background in the sky, and they kind of remind me of cotton candy. Like, I know they're not cotton candy, they're clouds, and you can't really see them, but they're there, and they remind me so much of cotton candy. and I kind of want to eat them. I am really glad how this piece came out. I think it would have, because this piece has come out so much, I really don't have much to say about it, because it came out really well, just as I wanted it to, and I thought it was the most successful piece out of the 10 colored pieces. Thanks for watching. Bye.